Hey there, welcome back to the table. I already have it on page 1 here. I felt like this was going to be easier than trying to read the book. I know there's some glare spots here, and there was, I think, one here. My apologies for that. We'll try to work our way around it. But basically, we can zoom in on this or on my camera. And so right now, I want to zoom in so you can read this. So basically, we're stirring into conscious, heat and blazing sunlight, slow rumble of the wagon. I'm not good at narration, folks. I apologize. I don't know how much I want to do this, but I'm almost just pause it and then read it, and then when you're ready, we'll go to the next page. But basically, we're in prison, and we don't know where we are. We're basically in I think it's like a wagon. It's a prison wagon, and we're being taken to a gladiator arena, and it's telling us to go to 631 next. Now, one thing I do recommend is have a blank sheet of paper. Like, I just got a blank sheet of paper here, and I'm literally writing 631 down, because if you ever need to backtrack, you just don't like where the story's going, you want to back up. Or sometimes, my kids are bleeding and need some emergency Band-Aid or whatever the reason, right? You get up, the doorbell rings, you have to make dinner. Sometimes you come back to your game session and you don't remember where you were. And so I'm writing down 631, and then I'm going to write down the next one and the next one. And so I could literally retrace my steps through the entire game. And I basically have a history of every location I went to. I'm not saying you have to do it. It's something I definitely recommend. So hopefully, you can see here we got some see, this is why I can't read. Thin-faced slavers with spears rattle the sides of your cage, barking for you to get down. You slump on your hindquarters. For the moment, there is nothing you can do with you and your companions in chains. You swear you will regain freedom and start your lives anew. But first, you must survive the horrors of slavery. Okay, so we need to go to 631, and I apologize for my big finger in the way and my hand. And let's just get to 631 here. And there we go. 631 is right here. And let's zoom this in a little for you. The slavers have sold you to the dreaded Soldat Arena, a grim place where the poor and criminals alike fight. If you fight to the death for the savage entertainment of the crowd. I apologize. If you have code A1, we don't have any codes right now, so we can't go to the first or the second. If not, read on. If this is the first time you've been sold to the Soldat Arena, that's a bad foreshadowing, isn't it? We might get sold more than once here. Or if you fought the arena before, you go to 582. There's no choice. We're going to 271. And so, yeah, the game's a lot like this. So we read this little paragraph, and now we're off, moving to the next one, which is why I like the PDF more, because it's real easy to jump around. And I know some people are probably better just flipping through the book. But look, I'm already at 265. There's 270. There's 271. So bing, we're already there. All right, so I'm always going to be toying with this. I know there's some glare. I'm aware of it. And, I see there's a little spot here from time to time, and there's a spot up here. I'm just trying to be mindful of that. Soldat Arena is the second largest complex in the city, with only the ancient palace looming larger. Its dungeons go deep into the earth, where prisoners, slaves, and monstrous animals are kept in large vaults. I'm skipping ahead a little bit. We're in our quarters. You ask about feeding arrangements. You'll know when it happens. Suddenly, a hatch at the top of the hall is swung open, and a barely cooked carcass of mountain goat is dropped carelessly into the middle of the hall. There is a great crush as the prisoners surge as one tear off the strips of flesh from the animal. A group of strong men from Lad's Breath, slaves like you, batter the crowd away with threats, claiming first rights over the animal. You are starving. Do we challenge the men to first rights over the meat? Otherwise, we attempt to side the men to ensure we get something, or wait your turn. So this is where it gets really interesting. Already off the bat, you're making choices, and you're choosing to be a bully or not be a bully. I think this was a tough choice for me, but I've watched plenty of Walking Dead. You don't, when you're in these situations, you don't try to be noble, at least not in this spot. Protein and calories is what gets you through. So what I decided to do, and I know because I've already played this before, so I'm sort of speaking in past tense, and I liked my choice. We're going to challenge the men to first rights over the meat. So we're going to turn to 212. And I'm going to go ahead and write that down. And if you ever regret your decision, like I said, we could just go backwards. So now I have 271 written down, and if I don't like this 212 choice, I'll go back. It's not the end of the world. And so here we go, 212. Puffing yourselves up. You and your companions put on a brave show before the slaves, shoving them hard and roaring threats. This will require a good deal of bravery and force. So threaten greedy slaves. We have to do a team check. Remember, there's team check or solo check. We're going to do skill and DC, fighting, 4 or more. So we're going to use a fighting skill check. We need to get 4 or more successes. And 4 successes, and a 4 or more is a success. Like when we roll the die, a 4 or better is a success. So if we succeed, we go here. If we fail, we go there. And failing stinks. I mean, the game really does punish you if you fail, and the dice gods are sometimes very unkind. But I got really lucky on my playthrough, which means that like this time around, I may not do as well. So so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna move the camera away from the story and bring you back over to the table now. And our characters are written here. So they want us to do a fighting check, and it's a party check. So for sure, we got Sergeant Jessica Dane, who has a fighting of 5. We don't want to use Tiquan, he only has a 1. Tasha has a 3, and Amelia also has a 3. So it doesn't matter which of these you use, they both have a 3. So what we're doing is we're going to have 5 plus 3, we'll have 8 dice for the check. And remember, a 4 or more succeeds. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm sorry, I don't have any more dice in my collection that are 6-sided. Unless I want to go rob from a board game like Axis and Allies, which I didn't do. Okay, so I have 2 more dice in addition to this. We need 4 successes. 4 or better succeeds. So here we go. This is awful. We only got 2 successes here. And then I get to roll 2 more, and they both need to be a success. And they weren't. So we failed right out of the bat. Oh boy. I never had this. So we're already branching a different direction than when than what I did. Now we got to go to 572, and somehow or another I screwed up. Here we go. 572. Neither side is willing to back down, and soon the hull devolves into a violent scrum. Fists fly and blood is spilt as people fight like animals for a sliver of cooked flesh. Reduce the health of all party members by 2. You manage to feed, but are a mass of bruises. So yeah, that's not good. And I just realized I never took my health points for all my characters. So 2 of my characters have 6 health, and then 2 have 8 health. So the ones that have 8, I'm gonna give 6, and then I gotta take 2 away from. So as far as like health goes, this is character 1, 2, 3, 4, just like it would be on the sheet. So I'm gonna take that away. So they're down to 4 health. My 2 spellcasters. So that's not good. All right, so now it says, so we went to 572. Then we're going to go to 865. Let's try the book method. My iPad's not, it keeps dimming and I have glare issues. So what are we doing? We're going 865. So it is a nice paper. Like, I know it's hard for you to see, but this is a nice feeling. Like it's a glossy print paper. It feels good. All right, so this is the part I don't like. You're almost relieved when the cruel overseers of the arena call you out filthy living hall for your first battle. You're fed water by children wearing neck chains in a narrow, dusty chamber who present it to you in deep bowls from which you're expected to slurp. One of the children, a pretty blonde girl named Milagros, I'm going to butcher every name in this game, quietly advises you to keep to the edge of the arena and not to engage in the central melee. Don't use magic, she hisses. They'll take your tongue. Guards push you on before you question her further. You're unchained and shoved into the gate rooms. Through the heavy portcullis, you can hear the crowd muttering with anticipation. You can see a number of crude weapons laid out for selection. Okay, this is the part of the book that's harder for the camera to do. So we're going to go ahead and do this. Maybe zoom in a little. Any party member may take a single crude blade, which is fighting plus 0. Now, you might be asking yourself, why do I need a fighting plus 0 blade? Remember, if you're unarmed, you get a -1 penalty. So even if it's a plus 0, that's basically getting rid of your -1 penalty. So every party member can take a crude blade. In addition, there's a single shield with an armor of 2 and a maul that has a fighting of +1. And then it's got the little asterisk next to it, which I think just simply means that it's a... Well, here we go. It says, remember that the maul is a two-handed weapon because its name is followed by an asterisk. So it tells it to you. You gotta be patient and read, Jeff. Party member wielding it cannot use a shield. So we got to decide who's going to use what. So no matter what, everybody's going to have the crude blade, including our Tiquan, the mage. Now, I don't like writing items on here because I use pen. It's just a crappy system I use. So this little system that I was telling you about where I'm writing in the numbers, I write it on there. So so what I'm going to do is, and it'll make sense. It makes sense to me. Maybe it won't to you. But like I'm basically saying, you know, all crude blade plus 0. So everybody has a crude blade plus 0, and then Jessica has a maul, which is +1, and then Tasha shield, which is 2 armor. So let me get my hand out of the way there. So everybody has a crude blade plus 0. Sar Jessica has the maul +1 and the shield 2 armor. So obviously, if you were smarter than me and you had a pen and pencil and eraser, you would just write that into the equipment. So the crude blade's taking up one of the spots. The maul takes up one of the spots. Obviously, I wouldn't have a crude blade and a maul. I would only have to choose one or the other. And then for the armor, you know, you can write down. And what I do with the armor is I actually use Indian hash style. So that's, you know, I got 2 pips on there. And then once I get to 5 pips, you know, you draw a line through it. So I have 2 armor right now for Tasha. And then right now I have a +1 for fighting because of the maul. And so I just write that in here. Again, I'm using Indian style hashes. So I know I'm using Roman numerals here, or sorry, not Roman, regular numerals here and then hash style over there, but it's just how my mind works. So it's 5 +1 for fighting, as long as she has the maul. So if the maul goes away, that +1 modifier goes away. So it's very important that you keep track of modifiers separate from base skill. Okay, this is all common sense, but just making sure, everybody's on board. And then the portcullis is opening, and we're going to 835. So I'm going to go ahead and write in 835. And let's go. So here we go. 835 is right here. There's almost a full crowd in the huge arena, with rich and poor alike rubbing shoulders on the long wooden benches. On the sandy and blood-stained floor of the arena are a number of bones and skulls artfully left to bleach in the sun. You can see that all 10 gatehouses have opened, disgorging teams of poorly armed slaves. Some are fearless men and women with chalice, who do not so much as flinch as the crowd roars for their blood. Bold barbarians of Lasbreth hold their arms and weapons high. I gotta move over to here. As they seek endorsement from the bloody-minded crowd. Most of the warriors, however, look more like frightened peasants, mere fodder for the skilled warriors of the arena. Sitting high above the arena upon a throne-like seat is the Iron King himself, a black-bearded, middle-aged man, his jagged iron crown sitting proudly on his skull. Next to him stands his bodyguard, the fearsome Malronach, the Death Engine. The solid metal golem was cast in the elder age of sorcery and has turned aside the blades of a dozen assassins. At a cold and distant motion from the king, the battle begins. One team of excitable youths from the gate adjacent to you make a sudden rush, hoping to catch you off guard. The crowd roar in joy. The bloodshed is about to begin. You must fight. Fight! Okay, so we have our first battle. We have slaves, and we have a leader. The slaves roll 4 dice, and they hit us with a 5 or better. The leader rolls 3 dice and hits with a 5 or better. Now, the leader, when we attack him, we need a 4 or better to hit him. He has better armor, is what it's trying to say. And then the slaves we can hit at a 3 or better. The slaves, of course, it's representing a group of people. So they have 15 health, and then you can see the leader has 5. So we have to decide what do we want to do here. The 15 health, of course, is going to take a long time to whack away at. So, but they're easier to hit. So my strategy, I'm thinking, is I want to take out the leader because he only has 5 health. And if I can take him out before, remember, we get to go first. And if we take him out, he doesn't get to go. So the damage we apply when we go first gets applied. And if we kill somebody, they never get to take a single swing. So my thoughts is I'm going to go after the leader. It's a 4 or better. Now, we're going to go ahead and set the book off to the side. And there's many things we can do here. So, for example, that's the leader. And that's the slaves. So we can represent their hit points that way. And, I got the book off to the side so I can read it for you now that you've seen it. If you don't remember, I can always just read it to you. And then looking at each character, which again, I'm not going to do this every time, but I think in the beginning you need to start to get comfortable with the characters. We're going to use their fight. So Sarah Jessica Dane is going to get to roll 6 dice because she has them all. Lord Tequan is going to get to roll 1. He could cast a spell, but remember they told us that we could lose our tongue. And in your playthrough, I more than encourage you to go ahead and try to cast a spell. I'm laughing. It's not. I told you I'd spoil the son of it, so I guess I shouldn't hold anything back. They do literally take out your tongue, and then you're unable to speak. It's awful, and you actually get a condition where your tongue is removed. I mean, rest assured, at some point somebody heals you and your tongue grows back, but it's I don't know if every pathway heals your tongue or not. It really does happen though. Okay, so, and then the other two here, you can see have a fighting of 3. So we're not going to do any spells, so it's just fight, fight, fight. So the one thing that crossed my mind is, okay, I'm getting to roll 6 dice with Sarge Jessica Dane. What if I did 5 hits, which kills this guy, and then let's say all 6 dice hit? Can I take the 6th die and apply 1 hit to that one? The rules don't say, but it does sort of hint that you're choosing your target. So I think if I'm choosing this target with my 6 dice and I do 6 hits, the 6th one is wasted. I don't get to hit both targets. I'm choosing this one or this one, and all my hits apply to that. Now, the reason I'm explaining this is it gets a little wonky because I'm probably not going to do 5 hits with 6 dice. I may do 2 or 3. So then it becomes, okay, well, what other character do I have attack this guy? Because Lord Tiquan only rolls 1 die, you know, other people are rolling 3 dice. It becomes a bit of a strategy on how am I going to divide up where my dice go. But I am going to do 6 dice against the leader because I need to take the leader down, and we're going to have Sarge Jessica go first. And so I know this die is hard to read. I apologize. It's hard to read outside of the camera too. These are all misses. I got 1 single hit. Oh my gosh, am I rolling awful today? 1 hit. All right, so 1 hit point's gone. And then we're going to go ahead and go with Tiquan. I'm going to actually go with Tasha. She rolls 3. And then here's 1, 2, 3 hits. So 3 hits are gone. Now I'm going to do Lord Tiquan. You get to pick the order. You don't have to declare it ahead of time. So Tiquan, with his 1 die, our mighty mage, actually took out the leader. And then we got the last one, which is Sarge Jessica Amelia Pastine. And she's going to go after the slave mob. So we got 3 hits there. That was a really good roll. So we're going to take out that 5 and put 2 back. And there we go. So they have 12 hit points. So we're done with all of our attacks. It's that simple, folks. This isn't that complex of a game. And then they get to attack. So coming back over to here, they get to roll 4 dice. So they're going to roll 4 dice, and they hit at a 5 or more. And that's what we got to do now. And that 4 dice it represents everybody. So it's a one-time thing, and then their turn's done, and then we get to take our turn. Unlike Enemy Action Kharkov, I'm actually playing this game, and it's a freaking book. So let's go. So they hit with a 5 or better, and that was a wonderful roll. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4. We got a nice straight Yahtzee. But not a single one of them hit. So we got lucky. Had we been hit, then I get to pick who the hit goes to, and I would pick the one with the armor. Because then we can possibly block some hits. But it doesn't always work, because you got to roll 4 or 5 or 6 to block. All right, so then it's back to us. So I'm going to roll 6 dice. And it is a 3, 4, 5, or 6 now to hit the slaves. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits. So 5 damage. Then we're going to go to the 3 of Tasha. There's 3 more hits. And then the next one for 3. There's 2 more hits. And Lord Tiquan does 1 more. And with 1 single health left, they get to go again. So they're going to roll 4 dice. And not a single 5 or 6 in there. So I don't even think we need to roll, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyways. Last health point is gone. So we didn't do well at all fighting for the food, but this time we actually rumple stomped. We didn't even take a hit. So it says if you win, go to 107. It doesn't even show if you lose, go somewhere else. I think the game is expecting us to win this. If you don't win, you don't have to ever tell anybody publicly that you lost this battle, and then just, quietly go back and start over. So, all right, it says go to 107. So let's do that. Let's go to 107. Yeah, you know what? This is just as fast as the app. Just as fast. And then look at that. We're reading one small little line. If Sarge Jessica Dane is in your party, go to 514. Hey, guess who's in our party? We're going to go to 514. So I sort of wish it wasn't like so much bouncing back and forth, but it is what it is. The fighting is chaotic, and more slaves come to join the battle as the fight rages on. Sarge Jessica is separated during the scrum. After slaying an opponent, she is suddenly bull rushed to the ground by an enormous last breath barbarian, her weapon scattering from her grasp. The barbarian's lift his axe high above the helpless knight. You must rescue her. Choose another party member to come to her rescue. Once you have made your choice, go to 485. Well, we're going to choose her stepsister. So Amelia Dane. We'll go ahead and do that. 485. If the character you chose was Tasha, I actually chose Tasha. Sorry, my phone received a phone call, and then all the recording and everything stopped. So I hope everything's still working okay here. So yeah, I didn't choose Tasha this time. You dash to Jessica's defense, but alas, you're too far out of position. Axe lands with a thud. Remove 3 health from Sarge Jessica. And I don't think that would have happened had I not. And you manage to impale the barbarian from behind, kicking his dying body away from the knight. If Sarge Jessica is still alive, you haul her to her feet and spin around to face the rest of your opponent. Holy buckets, if she was already dead, that's a go backwards. So then you would go to 753. Sorry, I'm writing stuff down. By the way, if you would go to 37, you would gain a heart. So the two characters would get like a connection. I don't know if it would be romantic or not. I certainly hope not, but they would at least have growing respect. So let's see, 753. The arena is a swirl of swords and blades, the crowd jeering as blood is spilt and bodies fall. In the center, the greatest fighters have gathered into a spectacular melee, while on the outskirts, the cowardly and the injured seek momentary respite. Do we leap into the center of battle fearlessly, or we hang back until the fight comes to us? Well, that little girl that gave us the advice told us to stay on the edge. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to stay on the edge. We're going to go to 550. All right, and so there is no point in provoking anything. You would rather deal with the wounded and exhausted opponents than arena champions. You cast your eyes warily across the exterior of the battle. We don't have code A3, so we're going to read on. An arrow thudding into the ground near you, launched from one of the arena guards, spurs you back into action. Clearly, you must fight hard or be executed. Hurriedly, you engage with the dregs of the fight to keep busy. So we have some Salt Dad slaves. They get to roll 6 dice. They have 20 health. And they only have a defense of 3. So I'll push the book out of the way. And there's their 20 health. And by the way, I wanted to show you, so we're at Salt Dad, which is there in the middle. Down here is last breath, because you keep reading about last breath. So that's there. And then I thought they said that there was, so Cursus, you can see there's a temple. It's like a god of some sort on the bottom right. And then Chalice, you've heard about people from Chalice. So they're like introducing you to the different regions. And then there's Clifftop on the left. And then there's this jungle down on the bottom left. But that's pretty much it as far as like the people of the area. So these the tough fighters are from Lasbreth, and then Chalice had a few as well. So not super important, but just wanted to get you into the lore. And we're gonna zoom out here. So now I get to roll 6 dice for Sar Jessica. We hit with a 3 or better, and that is only 4 hits. Well, I say that so lightly. So there's 4 out, and then we're gonna go ahead and do 1 for our mage, and then 3 for Tasha. So that's 2 more hits. And then 3 more for our last person, Amelia. That's 1 more hit. So these guys have 13 health left, and now they roll 6 dice. And they hit with a 5 or better. And so now you finally get to see the first hit. So this guy hit, the rest of them miss. All right, so what we're gonna do is we get to pick who it hits. So Tasha here has a shield, and she has 2 armor, which means she can try to block 2 hits. She's only receiving 1 hit, so you only get to roll 1 die, even though she has 2 armor. And if we roll a 4, 5, or 6, we block that hit. So I rolled a 3, and I know that's hard to read. I don't like this die at all. These are called halfsies dice, and John Rott, W-R-O-T, he's a really cool guy. He made these dice, and I gave him so much feedback that he needs to understand contrast. Because if this was just like gold or dark, the numbers, the contrast would be appropriate, and then you can read it better. Like white on white, I mean, anyways, he's done a lot better job since then, but these were his original halfsies dice, and some of them stink. Like this one has good contrast. Very easy to read. Anyways, we take a hit. So that means she loses 1 health. So right now, Sar Jessica has 3. These 2 have 4. And this one has 5. Because we lost health trying to fight for the food. So that's where we're at. We're actually getting pretty precariously low with a couple folks. So now we're at Sar Jessica. So only 3 hits here. There's 3 misses. That blows. And then we're going to do Mr. Tiquan. He does another hit. And then 3. All misses. And then 3 again. That was a 4, so that's 3 hits. All right, they're down to 6 health. And they get to roll all 6 dice. They got 1, 2, 3 hits this time. So I'm going to put that on Tasha again, but she only gets to roll 2 dice. And she blocked 1 of them, so she takes 2 damage. So now her 5 is becoming a 3. She's down to 3 health. So this is getting bad because having the character with the armor is where you want to direct all your hits to. But when that character starts taking all the hits that they're taking, not good. And here we go. 1, 2, 3 hits. And then we're going to go ahead and do our 3 dice Tasha. There's 3 hits and they're dead. We got them. So we've already taken turns. We've done more than we did in Kharkov for days. So I'm still bitter about that game. 71. is where we go now that we won. We're in trouble because I think we still got some more battles to do, and we're low on health here. So 71. With a final flourish, you slay your last opponent. Although there are other living slaves in the arena, the battle suddenly stops as the Iron King stands. In a thickly accented voice, the king declares you champions of the arena. The crowd goes wild, cheering you heartily as you catch your breath from the intense battle. Any hopes that you had of being made champion would grant you freedom are soon quashed. Instead, you are disarmed. So all those items we just got are now gone and led back to the dungeon to nurse your wounds. So 608 is the next one. I'm already forgetting to write these numbers down to retrace my steps, but that's okay. 608. Did any party members use magic whilst in the arena? If so, they were taken away by the guards to a small room where their tongues are cut out and then sealed with branding irons. Each magic-using character loses 3 health and cannot cast spells unless they can find a way to regrow their tongues. It cracks me up. 792. All right, here we go. 792. As arena champions, your quarters are improved a little. You now have your own cell to sleep in, half the size of an inn room, with a dirty straw mattress. In addition, you're given some basic training from an experienced gladiator called Shay Lung, who claims to be a sword saint from the nearby city of Chalice. The meals are slightly better too, with Milagros, the slave girl, serving you rice and cooked meat, as well as your water ration. All your party members can restore 4 health points. Now, it could be 4 total health points or 4 points each. That's the one thing that's a little goofy about this. I assumed it's 4 points each because it says all can restore 4 health points, not you can divide 4 health points amongst your party. So with that being said, I can get Sorry Jessica here is up to 7 out of 8 health. The 2 mages are back up to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is full health for them. And then this would go back to 7 as well. 3 plus 4 is 7. So Sorry Jessica and Tasha are 1 health point short of being full health. So that's pretty good. I'll take it. Okay. Come back over here. Between training bouts, you have many talks with Shay Lung, who is damning of the Iron King's rulership of Saltad. I care not who hears it. The man is a tyrant, he exhorts. Excuse me. Life is hard in this valley, but wanton cruelty such as his is uncalled for. It sticks in my throat that I fight for his pleasure. I had heard that all the King's Valley are petty tyrants, you say, between mouthfuls of water. It was not always so, mutters Shay Lung. In times past, we were ruled by a noble queen, the immortal Everchild, who cared for more for her people than her comfort. After the destruction left by the demon lord Abraxas, all that was left was ruins, and without her leadership, the people of the valley became little better than barbarians. Only Chalice has a glimmer of civilization left. After a hard day of training, you make your way back to your cell. You have another bout in the arena tomorrow, and you'll need all of your strength. So do we have the A2 code? No, we don't. So otherwise, we go to 157. Well, hold on. I thought we had the A2 code. Let me look at 157 here. Did I somehow miss a code? So basically we're equipping the same, up here, they're giving us the same weapons again. So crude blades, the maul, the whole 9 yards, the shield. Then it's telling us to go to 170. I guess it is different. So here we are. You step into the broiling heat. Sun scorching sands under your bare feet. You're the first competitors. You receive a roaring crowd cheer from the crowd as you appear. High above you, the Iron King gazes down impassively. Malradak, the Death Engine, unflinchingly by his side. You look across the heat-swept arena as the far gate is open. You cannot help but swallow as a pair of shaggy-haired desert lions come snarling out of the gate. Their manes are stained red with the blood of other victims as they roar at you with filthy yellow teeth. You must fight for your lives. Okay, so here we go. The first lion rolls 4 dice, hits at a 4 or better, 3 dice, 4 or better. They both defend at 4. This one has 9 health, that has 10. So clearly we want to go after the first lion first. And then it says, it does have one more note. You cannot use spells in this fight under threat of mutilation. So we're going to go after the 9 health guy because he rolls more dice. So it's clearly the stronger lion, and it has less health. I mean, it's a no-brainer. So we're going to go after the 9 health one first. I don't, like, when I was playing this by myself, I didn't get this fancy with the poker chips. So one has 9 health, the other one has 10. I'm going to go ahead and roll all 6 dice. I could probably use my dice tower. So we hit it on a 4 or better. So only 2 hits. Holy buckets. I'm not rolling very well tonight. So 2 hits. Done. Next we go to our 3 dice Tasha. There's 2 more hits. And then we're going to use another 3 dice. That's the Amelia for 2 more hits. And then our wizard Tiquan does 1 hit. I know that's hard to read, but it's a 6. So they both lions are alive. So the first lion rolls 4 dice. Hits with a 4 or better. So we just took 3 damage. And we have 2 armor. I'm going to take it to Tasha. And Tasha blocked none of it. So she just took 3 damage, and that hurts. She's down to 4 health. So next we're going to roll for the next lion. Rolls 3 dice, hit 1 time, and I'm going to go ahead and just hit Amelia once. We'll let the mage take that one. One of the mages. So now it's back to us. We only have 2 dice here, so I'm going to use the 3 dice Amelia, and we only did 1 hit. So then I'm going to use Tiquan, and thank you, Tiquan. We finished off the lion, and now we're going to go ahead and use the 3 dice character, Tasha. That's only 1 hit. So 4 health come back. Then Sarah Jessica, oh my gosh, she is just missing like mad. Only 2 hits. All right, so now we're at the second lion who has 3 dice. Hit once. And I'm going to go ahead and do 1 damage to Tiquan. Then we're going to have Sarah Jessica go. 1, 2, 3 hits. It's still brutally slow with rolling 6 dice. Then 3 dice. There's 1 hit. 3 more dice. There's 2 hits. And Tiquan. Oh, what'd you get, Tiquan? 5. Yep, there we go. Tiquan finished it off. So we killed the lions. So now we go to 236. See what happens to us next. So 236. The cheers from the crowd resound across the arena as the final lion falls dead. You cannot help but stifle a tear of the death of the noble beasts, cruelly plucked from the wild to fight for the entertainment of the savage crowd. Feeling more bestial than even a lion, you are taken from the arena and disarmed again. So now you got to remove everything. So good thing I didn't write all that stuff in pen. Okay, eager for another bowl of water to slake your aching thirst. You come across a sight of even greater cruelty. Poor Milagros is being shouted at and struck by an angry guard, enraged at receiving a splash of soup across his armor. The poor girl is on the ground, in his shadow, nursing a bruise on her cheek as the guard pulls out his whip to punish her further. So do we defend her, or do we keep well out of it? Oh, it's always tough being a good guy. I feel like we're definitely taking some damage here. But we're going to go ahead and defend her. We're going to go to 812. I'm going to write that down real quick, because I may regret this. There's nothing good that's going to come out of this for us. We're taking damage. We're unarmed completely against a guard. You rush the guard, pulling him to the ground and kicking his whip away. Alas, more guards are never far away, and soon the room is filled with sweating, swearing soldiers who restrain and beat you as the other slaves look on. Each character loses 2 health. If this causes any character to go below 1 health, they don't die. They will not beat you to death. So 2 health goes away from everybody. So that puts Sar Jessica Dane at 5, Tasha at 2, and the mages each at 3. Eventually you're released, bloodied and unbowed. Turn to 700. That was a lot of damage to take. You bend to help the injured Melogros, who tells you not to worry. I've had much worse, but you are gracious to help, she says, wincing as she smiles. Perhaps you will walk with me to the kitchens. I fear my hands tremble too much to carry the soup. Assisting Milagros, you follow her down the poorly lit tunnel towards the kitchen. You are brave warriors, and you have kind hearts, she says. It is not right that you suffer and stultify. That's a new word for me here. There is a plan to abruptly shorten our sentence. If you would be free, follow me. Milagros makes a sudden turn down a narrow tunnel and plunges into darkness. So, do we follow her or do we avoid trouble? And we are following her. That's the whole reason we protected her. So, 379. Here we go. Oh, a lot more reading. You make your way down the pitch black tunnel, relying on touching the damp walls to guide you. You emerge in a small cell through which the light streams weakly from a tiny arch in the high wall. In the cell, you can see Shay Long, your trainer, and several other gladiator slaves. Welcome, my students, bows Shay Long. He indicates Milagros. You come in good company, I see. I believe we can trust these warriors, announces Milagros. Tell them the plan, Shay Long. Do they know what they are letting themselves in for? Who they fight for? We are all slaves here, you assure them. We fight for our freedom. That and so much more, says Shay Long, smiling. This is no mere slave girl. Standing before you is the reincarnation of the Everchild, the Queen of the Valley, the supreme sorceress herself. You look down at the dirty blonde waif. She speaks well, but could she really be a queen? The Everchild is a future figure of legend, a story told to squires and children. Milagros sees the doubt in your eyes and places a finger in the soup bowl. She withdraws it and paints the walls with the thick soup, drawing strange symbols and words which begin to pulse and move as if on their own power. To your astonishment, she has drawn a spell on the walls filled with arcane power. If you have any spellcasters on your team, they can learn the following spell. Soothing Touch. Your hands glow with divine energy. Choose one of your party members. They can restore 5 health. Okay, so I got to pause here. and write all this down, because this is the only place that describes how that spell works. So I'm going to write down Soothing Touch. It's 50 silver to recharge. You always got to know how much silver. And basically one party heals 5. Okay, so I wrote that down in my notes, and I am going to give both characters this spell. So Soothing Touch. To both of them. And there we go. So then we go over here, and with a wave of her hand, Malagroth bathes your bodies in healing energies. You may restore the health scores of all your characters to full. If any of your characters have lost limbs, tongues, or other organs, they are restored. In addition, any diseases or curses you're affected are also removed. There can be no doubt this young slave girl is, if not the Everchild, certainly a sorceress of great power. Okay, so let me get everybody back to health. The mages have 6 health each, so getting them back up. And then Jane has 8. And the Tasha has 8. So there we go. Everybody's back up to full health, and I have to pause the video real quick. I will be right back. Hey, welcome back. So here's what's funny. I forgot where I was on the book, but thankfully the camera was still focused on the book here. And that's why you write your stuff down, so you can always figure out where you were. So do we want to know how she became enslaved, or ask her the escape plan? I don't know. I mean, I am one of those get to business kind of guys that always wants to know, just tell me the plan. I don't care where you're from. All lives matter. But let's do 629. Let's ask her where she's from. Let's learn more about this alleged queen. 629. I am not yet at full potency, admits the Everchild, running her hand through her filthy locks. In my eagerness to see the Iron King dethroned, I sided with a certain group of revolutionaries. Sadly, we were ambushed by the king's men, and there was no opportunity for me to use my magic to turn the tide of battle. I opted to keep my identity secret until a more appropriate juncture. But you are indeed the Everchild, reborn, as the legends say, you insist. I believe so, she nods. I was born to common folk, and yet my mind is filled with memories, manners, and skills from past life. Even if I am not, I am determined to replace the Iron King's tyranny with even-handed justice. I am willing to take on the mantle of the Everchild, so why not take her name as well? Why do you not escape using your magic, you ask? It is not yet mighty enough for me to effect an escape on my own. Besides, a queen needs followers, and mine are imprisoned here. We will leave together or not at all. A noble sentiment, you admit? But how exactly do you plan to escape? And look, we're going to go to 734 anyways. So let's do that. 734. Going to be over here on the left side. And my apologies, I have to pause again. And clearly I had a brain fart in this, because that is not 730. I mean, that is 734, but that's not what we're doing. So maybe it was 739. Nope, it's not 739 either. Oh, come on. So the last number I wrote down was 629, which I know is I'm gonna have to jump a few times because I didn't write them all down. 743. I went to 734. I was being ex-dyslic. Sorry about that. Shaylong steps forward, giving his seat to the Everchild. The arena is ancient and was once much bigger. There are vaults and tunnels that lead deep into the earth. We have, in secret, excavated one such tunnel. We cannot be sure that it leads to the surface, but we are willing to chance it. Why have you not gone already, you ask? We have no weapons, and there are creatures there in the dark, mutters Shelong. We were driven back in our last adventure. It is too dangerous to proceed unarmed. Unfortunately, the guards keep the weapons very well secured. They are not keen on allowing slave gladiators unfettered access to arms. How can we help, you ask? We need to get the weapons of the gatehouses into our hands. To do that, we need stealth and a good distraction. So, do we want to back out? Do we tell the guards? Or do we want to volunteer to get the weapons? Well, we're being goodies. I made the decision we're going to do that. Spoiling the snot out of the game. If you tell the guard of the plans, the king releases you and gives you like tons of gold, and then you have carte blanche access to the palace, and you basically become one of his henchmen. It's pretty cool, and it is one of the ways out of this situation. All you have to do is just tell them, and then boom, the king, you become the king's best friend. So this path we're going to take is a lot harder. So we're going to go down 191. And I'm going to go ahead and write that down. I haven't written down a number in a while. So, and you don't have to write down every number you went to, but it does help to keep like a almost like a history, so you can replay your story. But like in my case, when I got ex-Dislik, you can, I went to 734 instead of 743. That really puts you in a bind, because if you don't remember what number you just came from, you're completely lost. All right, so in order to get the weapons, you'll need to split up your party. Choose up to 3 party members to perform a distraction, and 2 to steal the weapons. You must have at least 1 party member doing each mission. Once we decide, we go to 169. So here's the thing. Usually when you're doing skill checks, a party check is only 2 members. So having 3 members on one of the groups doesn't really do me any good unless there's going to be a combat. So let's look at our characters and let's figure out who's going to go with who. I think it's without question Tasha is going to be the sneaky, right, for 5. And then here the stealth is 2. That's the next best stealth we have. Actually, the Lord Tiquan has a stealth of 2. So we'll have Tasha and Tiquan in one group, and then we'll have the stepsisters in the other. How about that? So let's do this. 169. I'm going to write that down. And I got to make sure I don't drop anything on the floor. Your distraction team must divert the guards' attention. Distraction is the stepsisters, by the way. Which tactic do you think is best? Start a fight amongst yourselves. You need at least 2 characters. Attempt to seduce the guards. Ooh, I do have 2 women. That would probably require charisma checks. Oh, Amelia's charisma is a 1. That's not going to do it. Pretend to be a messenger and say that their captain needs them urgently. Oh, I don't know. Well, I chose the fighty character, so let's do the fight. We'll go to 45. And if you're wondering, I have vague memories of what happened when I went down this path, but I don't remember specifically what I chose. Timing it just right, you begin to shove one another in the water queue. To make it convincing, you start to exchange a few hard blows, attempting to drag each other in the slave queue into your rumble. Each party member involved loses 1 health, so that part I knew was coming. Only party members assigned to the distraction team can contribute to this check. So it is fighting. 4 or more hits. We need 3 successes. So Sar Jessica has a skill of 5. Remember, we don't have them all anymore, so we don't have 6. It's 5. And then Amelia has 3. So we're going to get to roll 8 dice, 4 or better. We only need 3 successes. If I fail this, this is like table flipping moment. Here's 6 dice. So 4 or better. 1, 2, 3 right there. I still had 2 more dice. I had 4 successes, which was pretty close actually. But we succeed. So we get to go to 837, and I'm writing that down. And then off we go. 837. The other slaves in line, bloodthirsty gliders, throw themselves into the fight, outraged that newcomers have dared to lay hands on them. The guards have to call on considerable reinforcements to quell the riot, including the guards watching the gatehouse. You have given the other team the opportunity they need. Now it's their turn. 456. So with that being said, I'm going to end it right here. 456. Please let me know. I mean, obviously, I can see how many people are viewing the videos, so I can generally see if there's interest or not interest. This is a very, very long campaign. I mean, hours and hours. I really wanted to give you the feel for it. You already have the feel. The rest of this is just, you're enjoying the story and you want to see where this goes. I'll definitely try my best to squeeze it in. I do want to play some more Paladin's Oath, which I uploaded last night. My son is downstairs playing League of Legends and screaming and shouting at his friends, and I can't record down there on my computer without it being obnoxious. So I'm doing everybody a favor. But yes, I'm going to do some more Paladin's Oath. What I am not going to do is any more Kharkov. I'm done with that one, and I might be permanently done. I'm still chewing on it. But I have so much going on. I have Dungeon Universalis. I have the Ships of Akarios. And then I also have Frosthaven's coming soon. And I got a couple other Kickstarters that I know. Oh, I have Titan. I got more than I know what to do with right now. And I still have Fire in the Lake with the Trungbot. I've been very much interested in playing that. But after playing Kharkov, I'm sort of like burned out on the really meaty games. And you can tell I've been going a little bit lighter here at the moment. So, and then I also have Altar Quest that I wanted to do a full campaign instead of just the partial campaign that I did earlier. Anyways, thanks for watching. As always, stay awesome.